Hello again, everyone. So once again, I am filming this video in the same day as I filmed the last two. We're gonna keep going with section 5.4 here. This will be the third and final lesson that I've created for this section, which is all about converting point slope form equations. So grab your notebook and your pencil and let's get started. So when you're converting from point slope to slope intercept, the first thing you really want to do is you want to write down both of the equations to kind of reference. So point slope was the new one that we learned, which had all these minus signs, looked really weird, had the parentheses, so it looked like this. Slope intercept form is the first one that we learned, which is just y equals mx plus b. So if you compare and contrast these two equations, you can see that point slope form has a term near the y variable, and there's this parentheses where the x is. So there's a couple things that we need to adjust in order to get from our equation to look like this and turn into something that looks like this. We need to get rid of the parentheses. If we see parentheses, we always distribute first, and then we get rid of the term that's near the y by adding or subtracting it to both sides. So take a moment to copy both of these down. And for number one, we have some parentheses. Again, I want this to be in this form. I want the y by itself and no parentheses. Since I have parentheses, that's what I got to handle first. 1/4 times x is easy. That's just 1/4 x. 1/4 times -4, make this a fraction, cross cancel. You should get a -1. If you're still struggling with fractions, Khan Academy is highly recommended at this point. The next thing I need to do is, after distributing and getting rid of the parentheses, I need to get rid of the term that's near the y. It reads -5. I do the opposite, and I add it. When I do this, I can only add and subtract this number with something that's already a constant. I can't add it with this number here. So I can add it with a -1. I'm actually going to subtract them since their signs are different, and I get a +4. I distributed, I added and subtracted to get the y by itself. Here's my equation in slope-intercept form. Let's do another one. Here I've got parentheses, so I have to distribute first. I'm going to bring my y minus 3 down for the ride. 6/7 x is just going to be 6/7 times x is just going to be 6/7 x. The next term is not going to reduce nicely as an integer. If I make this a fraction, nothing's going to cross reduce or cross cancel here, so I'm just going to multiply the tops to get 18. Multiply the bottoms to get 7. So as you can see, when we get rid of this number over here, we're going to have an added challenge of having to work with this fraction. At this point, it shouldn't be too difficult. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And off to the side, you may want to do a little work. I need to take this -18/7 and add 3 with it, so I'm going to make that 3 look like a fraction. When I add or subtract fractions, I need their denominators to be the same, so I need a least common denominator of 7. So I'm going to multiply the second fraction with 7. That's going to give me 21/7. Now I can combine these numerators, and that should give me -3/7. Hopefully I did that in my head correctly. It's the end of the school day here on a Monday, so who knows? 19, 20, 21, yeah, it's -3. So I'm going to bring down my y, which is now alone, equals 6/7 x minus 3/7. And that's it. That's all we're doing today. We're going from point slope to slope intercept. So if you were able to do number 2 fairly easily, you're probably in good shape for this section. It doesn't get too much harder than that. Okay, let's do a few more. Number 3, I see parentheses. Distribute first. I've got y minus 3 equals -8/5 x. These 5s are going to cross cancel. I also am going to get a negative when I multiply. So I'm going to get a -8. Second step, isolate the y by adding or subtracting. We want to add the 3 to both sides since it was a negative. -8 plus 3 is -5. Here is my slope-intercept equation. Number 5, I have to distribute first. Always distribute first if you see parentheses. I get 5x minus 5. Last but not least, isolate the y by adding 4 to both sides. Y equals 5x minus 1. Here's my final answer. And then one more that I think we'll do together, and I believe the next slide contains some U-try problems. So I'm going to distribute first. I get y minus 5 equals -9/2 x. The 2's are going to cross cancel for my second product, leaving me with a -9. Isolate the y by adding 5 to both sides. You get y equals -9/2 x minus 4. Final answer. Okay, so here are a few for you to try. I'll pause the video here so you can give these a go. Okay, here's what you should have gotten for each of them, or at least this is what I got. Hopefully I didn't do it too quickly, and hopefully we match. Couple more for you to try. I'll pause again. And then here's what I got for these two. The one that you might have struggled with was this one right here, number 3, because you end up getting a fraction. So then when you get the y alone, you have to make that 5 a fraction by putting it over 1, find your least common denominator, and then subtract the numerators to get a +5. Okay, let's see if that was the last slide. I think it might have been. Nope, one more. Okay, one more for you to try. I'll pause again. Okay, and then here is what you should have gotten for the very last one. Remember that when you're distributing a negative, it's really a -1. It's just going to flip the signs. Nothing too crazy here, and hopefully none of these problems were too difficult. And that pretty much wraps up the last lesson in 5.4. So hopefully all of that was pretty straightforward, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.